Aloha and welcome. My name is Taylor Norris, and I am a certified galactic astrology soul reader and Reiki master teacher. And in today's video, we will be exploring what is your true star sign, ancient Egyptian astronomy, Parans, showing you this ancient starlight mini reading for Meg. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope you find this video helpful and valuable. Let's dive in. So I first want to just share and celebrate. I recently completed Bernadette Brady's amazing star school, which taught me, it's where I learned what I am going to be sharing with you in this video, and it is the foundation upon which I am sharing the Ancient Starlight mini readings and full readings. So a big thank you to Bernadette Brady. This was such an awesome course. I really enjoyed it so much, and I'm so grateful. This is such an area of passion for me, and I am so excited to see how this expands and grows my consciousness and my service, my ability to show up and be of service to others who also want to expand their consciousness to include more of their multidimensional self and connection to the stars. So what I have been diving into is basically ancient Egyptian astronomy. So this is working with the fixed stars in the ways the ancient Egyptians worked with them, all the way back into the Old Kingdom. So 3000 BCE, maybe even earlier than that. But there are records as early as the late 2000s BCE of the ancient Egyptians working with the stars. And you see here, this is on one of the ceilings. This is an ancient star chart. So it's actually tracking the movement and the dates and the Heliacal rising star that the ancient Egyptians were making sure to take note of. And this star would govern 10-day periods. It would govern the weeks of their years. So instead of the weeks just being another week, another week, another week, they were actually aware of the star influences beyond our sun, right? They were noticing the sunrise and what other stars were rising slightly before or with the star, and that was the Heliacal rising star. In the modern context, Bernadette Brady is the one I turn to for guidance and education on this topic. She has two wonderful books about fixed stars. I have them both, use them both, recommend them both very much. But basically, this way of working with the fixed stars is accessing the soul and the spirit before the horoscope, because the horoscope is what the ancient Greeks uncovered and studied and provided so much powerful foundation for us as astrologers and as people who are wanting to work with and be aware of the planets, mostly in the horoscope. And they had a unique way of projecting the stars onto the horoscope, onto the ecliptic as well, to work with the stars that way. In my opinion, and my working with the stars this way so far, the ancient Egyptian ways is even accessing more of a deeper place within the unconscious. It's even more unconscious star energies because it's so far beyond our solar system. It is beyond the path of the planets around the sun and the sun's path as well. It's integrating a more multidimensional path and series of pathways, this network of light, this network of consciousness that we're all a part of. And I love this picture here. This is representing the ancient Egyptian goddess Nut, who swallowed the sun every night and swallowed the stars every night, and you see the stars in her belly. And it was reborn. The sun was reborn, and the stars were reborn each morning through her and passed along, riding along these solar arcs, moving closer in their star succession to set under the horizon, travel through Newt, and rise again, be born again in the daytime. And so this is another way the ancient Egyptians showed us the stars in their unique procession and succession as we are able to observe them from Earth. And so breaking this down a little bit more, we see that one of the tools used in this way of working with the stars is called the Parans. And with the Parans, the full circle of the horizon is used. So not just the east and the west points that Western astrology, most astrological studies typically look at. It's looking at this line right here, which is the ecliptic, which is where all the planets travel on. It's the sun's path and the children of the sun, the planets. And so what does this have to do with the horoscope and the natal chart? Well, this line, the ecliptic, is the outside of the natal chart and the horoscope. And I love Bernadette Brady uses the analogy of the old school CD compact disc. You can imagine the horoscope, the natal chart, as a compact disc, a CD that just slides right in to this ecliptic on the celestial sphere. So it tells us a lot about the ecliptic, but it loses the rest of the celestial sphere. The celestial sphere has to be projected onto this ecliptic line where our planets travel, the children of the sun. With Parans, we look at relationships between the planets and the stars. For example, the moon rising in the east while a star rises or sets in the northwest. So it doesn't have to be rising just in the east or in the west. It can be rising in another direction, another location around the horizon line. And so I'm not going to get too technical, but I just want to explain this a little bit for those of you who may benefit and find this explanation valuable. There are 4 different points which can create a Paran relationship: the rising side of the horizon circle, the setting side of the horizon circle, the upper part on the prime meridian. That's this line that marks like the center of the sky, the center of the celestial sphere. The upper part is the culminating. This would be the MC or the midheaven. It's the MC or the midheaven can be along the ecliptic, but there's actually a celestial midheaven or MC that is formed by this prime meridian. And the opposite point, the lower part on the prime meridian below the horizon, and this is called on the nadir. So the upper part is when a star is said to be culminating, and the lower part, the star is said to be on the nadir, on its nadir. So not necessarily on the ecliptic, right? This limited opportunity of MC and nadir, its own culmination, its own nadir point. So if a star or planet is on any of these 4 points at the same time as a star or planet is on the same point or any of the other 3 points, then those two planets or stars are in Paran. So there are a few different ways they can be in relationship with one another. I'll show you an example with Meg in just a little while. So what's really interesting is that we see evidence of the use of the Parans at Stonehenge. So the pre-Druidic people created Stonehenge in a circle rather than just a series of parallel cross beams. We're actually working with the full circle of the horizon. And so this ancient Egyptian, or even more deeply ancient method, which I'm notating here, the pre-Greek, because the ancient Egyptians, I'm not sure where they got it from. It could have been from star beings themselves or some other tradition. This way looks at the stars on their path in relation to the planets on their path, the planets of our solar system on their path of the ecliptic, and the stars on their own path in relation to one another. Because you have to remember that these stars, each of these stars is like our sun. It's its own star system. It's on its own path. It's not subject to the conditions of our sun and our solar system. So it's like a different philosophy, a different culture from each of these other stars, just like our solar system has its own philosophy and culture that we know here and that we take for granted. So the Greeks, and later on, what is mostly carried on to this day in astrology, is that if astrologers choose to work with the stars, which many of them do not, the vast majority of astrologers today are working with the sun, and they're not working with the fixed stars all that much. And if they are, they're actually projecting the stars that are parts of their own star system onto the path of the planets in our solar system. So projecting these stars onto the ecliptic. Very, very different methods. Stars on their path in relationship to our planets on their path versus the stars projected onto the path of the planets. So the stars taken off of their own path and put onto the path of our planets and our solar system. And I want to say very clearly here that there are many right ways to do astrology and to work with fixed stars. And I'm not here to say that one way is better or worse than the other, that one way is more right and more correct, and one way is more wrong and incorrect. Because what I found is that working with stars, the Greek way, projecting them onto the ecliptic, is very powerful and very rich. And this other way, this older way that I am learning and sharing with you here with the Parans so far in my work and in my studies is blowing my mind to new levels too, and proving to be very rich and fruitful as well. So this is not to offend anybody who works in either camp or both camps or no camps, doesn't even choose to work with fixed stars. I respect everybody's different way. And if you're here and you're interested in astrology, you're an astrologer yourself, or you're curious about astrology, I love you no matter what. So enough about that. Let's get into the Heliacal rising star. I touched on this briefly, but again, we see this in the Egyptian artwork. Like, they were tracking this. They were writing this down. This was important enough to them. They were laying it out super clearly in pictures, trying to make it as obvious as possible. This is my interpretation. So that those of us finding this later on, it would just be like abundantly clear what to do and what this means. Like, I really look at these things and I'm like, I can feel how they were trying so hard to make it really, really obvious and clear and self-evident and preserved so that later on we could find it and we could make use of it. The Heliacal rising star, so magical and profound. This is the star that reappears from the underworld below the horizon and rises just before or with the sun on the day of your birth in your location. So it's specific to your birthday and your birth location. Two people born on the same day, different locations, different rising stars potentially. This star, by the ancient Egyptians, the Heliacal rising star, why they were tracking it is because they considered it the ruling deity for a period of time, 10 days or so, until the next star in the annual cycle reemerged from the underworld. And they knew what the next star would be. They knew this. They were so brilliant. And again, it's like, oh my gosh, like inviting this awareness back into our lives so that we know, like right now where I'm in Hawaii, A Crux is the Heliacal rising star. And I can sync up with that and notice, okay, hey, when is the next star to be the Heliacal rising star for my location? We can each track this for our locations if you feel so inspired. That's one way to work with it. But we each have Heliacal rising stars for our day of birth and our location. What does it tell us? Well, astrologically, in terms of the meaning, it rides with your sun sign that might be in Cancer or Leo or Virgo or Scorpio or Aquarius or Aries. It's a part of your character. And this is truly your star sign because you get the zodiac sign of your sun, but then the Heliacal rising star is which star is actually merged with your sun. It's so cool. It's so cool. So this is really your star sign. It will bear gifts to you from the land of your past, your family, your genetics. It is your gift, the jewel or treasure which your ancestors handed to you at your birth. It represents a theme in your life. It helps to build your philosophies and can at times take on a vocational pulse and therefore be part of your soul mission, your soul purpose, your life purpose. And in this diagram here, for those of you who are really visual like me, you see this person standing here, the line of the horizon, and you see that this is the star Sirius, and it has risen just before. It's higher up in the sky than the sun. This is the symbol for the sun. The sun is rising after the star Sirius. So right during this period, this is what is called the visible heliacal rising of Sirius. And this is from Bernadette Brady's book on fixed stars. That same day, Sirius will have gone below the horizon before the sun. Another important star that ancient Egyptians tracked and that I'm looking at in these ancient starlight readings is the Heliacal setting star. This is the star that has just returned to the earth via the horizon after a period of being in the circumpolar realm of the immortals. This star appears to set just before or with the rising sun on your day of birth. This star, by the ancient Egyptians, was also considered to be the ruling deity for a period of time until the next star in the cycle appears to descend from the immortal realm. and meet the earth and meet the horizon once again. So you see it in this diagram here. The sun is on the left-hand side of the horizon. It's rising. And as it rises, this is the star Sirius, and the star Sirius is setting. So this is said to be the Heliacal setting star. Astrologically, what does this mean? For you, natally, that you will have a Heliacal setting star, and it represents the birth of a divine being, you, on the mortal earth. The color and the flavor and the texture of that represents a hidden but great gift, an attribute, divine gift or skill or theme that lies within you. A gift or treasure given to you from your spirit, from your immortal soul. These can be goals that you reach for, represented by this Heliacal setting star, vocations that motivate you, and the spiritual pathways that you seek. It represents your doorway to the immortals or your journey towards a fulfilled life. This can really guide you and help. I mean, it's meant to guide you towards greater fulfillment, knowing what this star is. That which gives you the greatest happiness. Really handy and powerful to know this, right? So I want to give you all an example of this for Meg, who volunteered many months ago for me to do a little mini reading for her. Looking up here, this is her Heliacal stars and Parans according to Bernadette Brady that I calculated for her on Astrolog.com. And I'm just showing part of the printout here. I'll show you the rest of it in a moment, but I don't want to overwhelm anybody too much. So it shows for Meg that her Heliacal rising star is Castor and her Heliacal setting star is Rukbak. So how cool is this? We have the twins of Gemini and we have Sagittarius the Archer. Her Heliacal rising star is Castor, you see in the head of one of the twins. And Castor is about always seeking knowledge and wanting a voice. So Meg, I ask you, is this you? Is this core and foundational to who you are? Always seeking knowledge and wanting a voice. Rukbak is her Heliacal setting star. And when Rukbak is Heliacal setting star, it means to lead a life that is unswerving from what is held to be the true path. Unswerving, steady, stable, steadfast, strong. So as much knowledge and speaking and communication that you're doing, this is not someone who's probably that flexible from their belief systems and standing up for what they believe in. So what I'm feeling into this is that it's so important for you to be aligned and be aware of your inner truth, expressing your inner truth, and living your inner truth, being in full integrity and on your true path, no matter what anybody else thinks or says, or society thinks or says, or culture, or what have you. You are steady, you are strong, you are secure in this foundation, and you're meant to stand your ground here. Sagittarius, you're meant to and be grounded. To be grounded, because Gemini, this can be talk, and ideas and, study. This is like really grounding it down, living it, walking the path. So let me know what you think. Does this resonate? One other thing I will mention is that this Ancient Starlight report we receive information about any stars at the natal horizon or meridian. See, these are other ways the stars and the planets can be in Paran at the moment and location of birth. Not everybody has these. Some people will have 1, 2, 0. So for Meg, Denebola in Leo constellation, the tail of the lion was culminating when she was born that day. So Denebola on an angle at birth, a lifestyle of struggling against establishment thinking. And I think this goes really well with what we were just talking about with the rising and setting stars, that, you know, this is not the path of the mainstream. This is really you reconciling what is truth and what is authentic for you. And chances are strong with this star on the angle that it's not what everybody else is doing, thinking, believing, how they're living. So being really grounded in your truth and embodying whatever is authentic to you. Authenticity might be a word that's really important to you. And if so, I'm glad you're here, because it's an important word to me too. And it's more than just an important word. It's a value. It's a value of mine that informs my life. And I'm guessing it's one that really informs your life as well. You're here to be a paradigm breaker. You're here not to just go with the flow of old paradigms and old institutions and conditioning and programming, but to reprogram yourself and recondition yourself into greater harmony and balance and wholeness and truth and dignity. So I have here a really overwhelming slide. Probably too much information, but that's how I roll. So these ancient Starlight readings that I'm doing, they build upon this exploration of the natal chart in a regular astrological consultation, the galactic astrology charts from galacticastrachart.com, which provides so much powerful information about projecting the fixed stars onto the ecliptic. And then in the soul readings, connecting the dots. How does this all work together with the natal chart, with the soul history in the soul records? With the ancient Starlight readings, you get a report like this. So I showed you the rising star, the setting star, any stars on the angles. But then, so in mini readings, I'm going to focus on these. In full readings, I'm going to focus on this whole report here. So you see stars in culmination, stars setting, stars in lower culmination, and then sometimes there are stars rising too. We get information about the time period in which these specific stars are activating for you. Is it during your youth, before your first Saturn return, in your prime, after your first Saturn return from around age 30 to 60? Is it in your latter years, about 60 years of age and beyond? Or is it in the hearthstone and foundation of your life, omnipresent, your legacy, these things that are there all along but seem to intensify and magnify and amplify with age? These are not hard and fast. They're guidelines, but they give information about the timing. And you know, in astrology, we're all about the timing. So it's great to know what's activating when. We also see for each of the stars what themes. These are the larger overall categories of the stars that I look at in these ancient Starlight readings. So mysticism and insights, fame and opportunity, power in the material world, hardship and difficulties, joy and happiness, knowledge and learning, dignity, vocation, mission, adventure, sacrifice, reliability, and steadiness. So you can actually categorize each of these stars and see for a given person how many stars of each theme do they have, and kind of tally it up this way. I did this for myself yesterday just to see, And overwhelmingly, I had the most stars in which category? Y'all want to guess which category? Mysticism and insights. This was double, double the next highest category. So most of my stars, my emphasis, you could say the emphasis of my life is the mysticism and insights. And knowing that was just like, wow, yeah, that really resonates. These are general themes that are helpful, but there are specific interpretations for each of these that can shine even more light of awareness on that soul and spirit energy before the horoscope. It's getting into the original vibration. It's getting into more about your star lineage, your soul intentions, your spirit intentions, these gifts and blessings and miracles and magic streaming in you. Because it's so powerful to learn about the sun and our solar system. And y'all, this comes from a Western astrology. My sun is in Leo, okay? The stereotype of Leos is that we think everything revolves around us because we're ruled by the sun. And I'm here on behalf of Sun and Leo saying every other star matters. Every other star matters just as much as our sun. Our sun gives us really specific and useful and kind of like local information. But by inviting all the rest of the stars in, or many more, because the stars that I'm looking at is not every star, there's so many of them. But inviting more of the stars in, inviting more of the sky in, we just get this even richer and fuller and more multidimensional expression of this infinite wisdom and mystery, great mystery that each of us is, because each of us is the universe. We are the universe, and the universe is us. We are the stars, and the stars are us. The stars are within us, literally, any way you want to look at it. They are a part of us. We are made of the earth. The earth is made of the stars. We are made of the stars. So beautiful. So if I've piqued your interest in this, which hopefully I did, I am here to invite you to these new offerings I am sharing, the Ancient Starlight readings, the mini edition, the 30-minute, and a full Ancient Starlight reading, 60 minutes long. Y'all can read way more about it on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. I also offer astrological consultations, galactic astrology, soul readings, Reiki sessions, one-on-one, Reiki training classes, and a free new moon distant Reiki share every single month. So much more excitement to come. So thank you so much for being here, for being a part of my soul family. I look forward and am excited and grateful to connect more deeply with you, soul to soul and spirit to spirit. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.